Hello viewers, welcome to EduTube. In this lesson, we are going to learn approximating whole numbers to the nearest 10, 100, and 1000. Now, before we jump into our example, it is important that we understand the fundamental principle of rounding off or approximation of numbers. And that principle is that if the number you're rounding off, if the nearest number to the number you're rounding off is between 0 and 4, you round it down to nothing. However, if the number you are rounding off, the nearest number to it is between 5 and 9, you round it up to 1. So meaning that the nearest number to the number you are rounding off, if it is between 0 and 4, it will give out nothing. It will be rounded to nothing. And if it is between 5 and 9, it's going to give out 1. That means it will be rounded up to 1. Now, to put that into practical use, let's go to the first example. So, the first example says approximate 18,624 to the nearest 10, 100, and 1000. So, let's begin with to the nearest 10. So, we are rounding off 18,000. We are approximating 18,624 to the nearest 10. Now, to the nearest 10 simply means you are going to identify the tens place value, and then the nearest number to it. We'll consider the principle of whether it is between 0 and 4, and then we round it down to nothing, and we consider whether it is between 5 and 9, and then we round it up to 1. Now, so identifying the place value, 4 is units, and certainly 2 is tens. So because you're rounding off to the nearest 10, so the nearest number to the tens place value is 4. And 4 is between 0 and 4. So meaning that we are rounding it down to nothing. So 4 will give out nothing. So we are basically going to write the number that comes before 4, 1862, and then 4 will be rounded down to 0. It will give out nothing. So we've successfully round off this number to the nearest tens, and the new value is 18,620. So then for the second example, the same number 18,624, we are still rounding it. We are rounding it off to the nearest 100 this time around, meaning that we identify the place value of 100. So 4 units and 2 tens, and then 6 is the 100. Now, since they said to the nearest 100, the nearest number to the 100 place value, the 100 place value is what? 2. So we'll consider whether 2 is between 0 and 4, and then we round it down to nothing. So the number that comes before the 100 we turn to 0, and then the number that comes after the 100 we turn to 0, and the number that comes before the 100 we just write them out. So we write 186 because they said to the nearest 100, and then the nearest number to 100 is tens, which is 2, and it's between 0 and 4, so it will be rounded down to nothing. So these two numbers are basically going to turn to what? 0, 0. So our answer is 18,600. Then the last example, 18,624 to the nearest 1000. So this is unit, this is tens, this is 100, and then this is 1000. So I'm going to put a demarcation. So the numbers that comes before the 1000 place value, all the numbers including 1000 itself is going to be written out. But before I write it out, so I write 1, and then the nearest number to the 1000 place value is certainly what? 100, which is this 600. Now, according to the principle, if the number nearest to the number we are rounding off is between 5 and 9, we are going to round it up, and it will give out what? 1. So meaning that this 6 will give out 1 to the 1000 place value, because 6 is the nearest number to the 1000 place value. So it's going to give out what? 1, and 6 is between 5 and 9. So if I add 1 to this 8 plus 1, that will give me what? 9. So after writing this 1 here, so the next number, instead of writing 8, I'm going to write what? 9. So this 6 has given out 1 to this 8, according to the principle that if the number nearest to the number we are rounding off is between 5 and 9, we round it up to 1. It's going to give out 1. So the 1 is added to the number, and it becomes what? 9. And then the rest of the number after the 1000 place value will be evaluated to what? 0. So to the nearest 1000, we have what? 19,000. And that is it about first example. So let's go to the second example. Second example says round off 9,895 to the nearest what? 10. 9,895 to the nearest 10. So this is straightforward. So 9,895 to the nearest 10. Just like we did in the first example, we identify first of all the place value. So this is unit, and then this is what? Tens. So the nearest number to the tens place value is this what? Unit. And considering the principle, 5 between 9 will be rounded up to 1. So meaning that this 5 will give out 1 to this 9. So we add the 1 to this 9, and this 9 becomes what? 10. So if you add it together, so we have 10. So instead of writing 10, we write 0, and then we carry 1 to the next number, which is this 8. So this 8 becomes what? 9. And then we have this 9 itself. So our answer is 990. Don't forget, the nearest to tens is this unit, and the unit automatically turns to what? 0. So our answer is 9,900. So that is that about rounding off or approximating whole numbers to the nearest 10, 100, and 1,000. If you are new to this channel, please kindly click on the subscription button below this video to get notified of more academic lessons like this. And if you are a returning subscriber, we say a big thank you for your love and support always. I will see you in the next lesson.